Welcome back, boys. Today we got another banger. I'm dropping my album today. You already know. I'm just kidding. I want to start a series where every once in a while I want to explain the mindset of a fighter, whether that be a UFC fighter, a boxer, because I'm a fighter. I have a lot of respect for fighters, and I think that we can really benefit from learning about their mindsets. And today, you already know, we're going to be talking about the reigning, defending UFC Light Heavyweight Champion of the World, Jon Jones! You already know what it is. And so, Jon Jones he's currently actually the heavyweight UFC champion of the world. But for the longest time, he was the UFC lightweight heavy champion of the world. And I think there's a lot of things that impresses people about Jon Jones. He's 6'4". His body is like perfect for fighting. He has these tree trunk legs. He has muscle in all the right spots. He's also like, the way he fights, it's art. And like, he has such an unorthodox way of fighting. And he's definitely my favorite fighter of all time, and he's a man that I really look up to and aspire to for a number of reasons. One of them being, me and him have an extremely similar body type. I'm 6'6", he's 6'4", we're both really tall. And the way that my muscles attach, my dad's mixed, and so like the muscles, the way they attach to my body, I'm built like a black dude. I know you probably go, he's my dad's black. I just didn't come out. I just came out. That's why they call me the albino monkey. My friend, that's what they call me. Where do you think these hands came from? I got huge hands. Huge feet. I wear size 15 shoes. I'm a big old guy. So the way that my muscles attach to my body are like a black dude. And we just have a really similar body type. And just the way that our muscles work. And anyways, that's besides the point. What can we learn from Jon Jones? Well, I think the number one most impressive thing about Jon Jones is his state of mind when he fights. There's a number of reasons why he's impressive, but I think the number one reason is his mindset. So, like, he has this is a quote by Jon Jones, and I quote, There's nothing wrong with having butterflies, as long as you can get them to fly in formation. And I think this is something that's super powerful and something that really I took a lot from, because growing up, when I was really little, I did wrestling. And I was super strong. I was stronger than all the other kids my age. I was super strong. But I was so afraid. Like, practicing and stuff, I was fine. When I was doing practices at home, that was totally fine. I did great. But when it came to going to tournaments and fighting in competition, like, I'd get so locked up that if you've ever competed in combat sports, you know that, like, the butterflies are unlike anything else. Like, worse than any bull I've ever rode, because I used to ride bulls. My dad was in the PBR, which, if you don't know, is like the highest bull riding, association in the world. And he was like ranked number 2 in the world for a while. And so it's a really scary sport. Climbing on the back of a bull, climbing on the back of a bull is super scary, but it's nothing compared to what I felt when I was about to go at a live wrestling match. Because, like, it's you and one other person. It's not 14 other guys versus 14 other guys. It's you. Like, just the thing that you're standing there. It's me and it's you. Just sitting on there. Okay, the ref is right here. It's me and this other guy I've never seen before. He wants to hurt me. Like, he wants to do harm to me. That's something that always freaked me out. And I had crazy butterflies, and I let him take control of me. And so I quit wrestling because I was so afraid. And I could have done so well. I could have been a fantastic wrestler. But I just let the fear take control of me, and I couldn't handle it. And so that's why I started fighting again in the first place. Now I do Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm actually going to be competing in my first tournament in like a month. And so I'm really excited for that. I'm also really scared of that, you know what I mean? Because it's my first tournament in years, and so Anyways, there's nothing wrong with having butterflies as long as you can get them to fly in formation. Now, Jon Jones says that you are in your most powerful state when you're afraid. And I think that is super powerful because I think about how scared I was when I was about to fight and how much those butterflies affected me. And, like, if I could have learned to turn that into positive energy, like, okay, I'm not scared, I'm excited. Like, saying that to myself and, like, if I could have converted that into good energy, I could have been unstoppable. And that's what I'm going to be now. That's my game plan going forward. And I think that should be every man's game plan. And Jon Jones, he also says our obstacles are opportunities. And I definitely agree with that. I think adversity makes a strong man stronger and a weak man weaker. And so I think every single obstacle we see, we shouldn't see it like, oh, this is something bad. This is something that's going to negatively affect me. I think that, okay, this is something that's hard. This may be something that's tough, but it's something that I'm going to benefit from nevertheless, and I'm going to come out of it stronger. I feel like that's the way we should look at adversity. That's the way that Jon Jones looks at adversity. Now, looking at Jon Jones' record, he's 27-1 in the UFC. Now, his one fight really wasn't even one he lost. He was disqualified for illegal elbows. But if you watch the fight, he beat the crap out of the guy. The guy by no means outdid him. And so really, as far as like winning the fight, out of like technicalities aside, just sheer fighting, he's really 28-0. But technically he's 27-1. However you want to look at it. He hasn't been physically beaten before in the UFC. And that is extremely impressive. And he recently moved up to the heavyweight division where he beated Cyril Gane. I think I'm butchering that. Cyril Gane in a phenomenal performance. He went out there, I think it was in the first or second round. He just went out there, took him down, and submitted him. It was insane. And like he just did it so quickly and effortlessly. And now he's the heavyweight champion of the world. And I feel like where the majority of his power comes from is his mindset. He just has this like mindset, like he's genuinely convinced himself that he was not designed to lose. Now, whether that is crazy, biased, just dumb thing to do, whether that's wrong or right, he's still 27-1 or 28-0. So obviously, I believe you can lie to yourself enough to where you can believe your lies, your own lies. I believe you can lie to yourself enough that you actually believe that. Like, sometimes people will lie to themselves over a subject so much that they believe it's true. And I feel like that's a really poisonous thing that you can do to yourself. But imagine if you can lie to yourself so much about something like you're the best ever. You were sent down from heaven to be a warrior, to be a divine warrior amongst mortal men. Imagine if you could convince yourself of something of that scale rather than all the porn and video games I'm playing is actually good for me because I'm learning finger coordination and when I watch porn I'm actually not. But imagine instead of lying to ourselves about those things, if we can convince ourselves that we're divine creatures sent from heaven to wipe out the mortal men. Or imagine if you wanted to convince yourself that you were meant to be the strongest man ever in history, and so you're going to devote your life to becoming the strongest man, period. Now, of course, these things may not always be correct, but they can be beneficial. Like Mike Tyson says you have to become the champion before you become the champion. You have to be the champ before you become the champ. Now, what does this mean? I think this means that you have to have the mindset of, I'm going to win, before you go out there and win. Because I don't believe that you can go out there and say, all right, I'm going to try my best. If I lose, oh, it's fine, I'll just come back. I believe that obviously you can't be like, oh, I'm going to win when you haven't trained. Of course you have to put in the hard work and you have to be prepared. But I feel like there's a lot of guys that they're prepared and they've done the hard work, but they're still like, okay, I might not win, and if I don't win, then I feel like you need to do everything you possibly can to win, and then at that point, the next step is to be, I can't lose. God sent me down to win this fight. I'm supposed to win this fight. It's in my destiny to win this fight. I believe after you've physically done everything you can to overcome an obstacle, then it's up to your mind. You know what I mean? But also, I also feel like the mind comes before, because it takes so much mental strength to come over the physical adversities. And I feel like Jon Jones is a man that every man should study, because of the way that his mindset is unmatched in the way he thinks about fighting and just life in general. Like, there in his fight with, and I think there's something that's really interesting about him is he's very honest. He's never like, I was never scared. I was always. He's genuine. When he was talking about his fight with Rampage Jackson is like he's a knockout artist. He's super good with his hands. I think he was a boxer before, but he's super good at knocking people out. Jon Jones said he had nightmares before fighting Rampage Jackson. Several nightmares of him getting knocked out in the first round. And he said that. And also Jon Jones is also a good man to study, because, you know, he's a Christian, and us as Christian men should value and study the biographies of other great Christian men. And so he said that before fighting Rampage Jackson, he was in the locker room and he prayed over himself. He prayed that God would give him divine powers of strength, flexibility, and endurance. And he said that he looked down at his hands and he saw feathers coming down his hands, through his fans, and through his feet. Now, whether this is true or not, something happened. Whether that feathers thing that it was talking about is true or not, something happened, because Jon Jones went out and choked the heck out of Rampage Jackson and just demolished him. And so, obviously, he's doing something right. Now, whether the feather story is true or not, he was doing something right in here. And we should all strive to replicate what that exactly is. And now that we have the internet is a double-edged sword, because we can study the biographies of all the great men. We can learn from all the great people, but there's also the distractions. And so it's just one of those things. And so it's a powerful tool that can be used for good and for evil. And so, with that being said, I think I'm going to end this video. Jon Jones is definitely a talented fighter, and he's definitely a man that we should all strive to be more like. He's definitely my favorite fighter, and a man that I'm going to strive to be more like. And, as always, I'm on your side.